All right, let's get started. So welcome everyone to Symmetry webinar about, we have webinar about 7 tips to design more sustainably. Your presenters today are myself, Johanna Järvinen, work for Sustainable Business Development Consultancy, ACO UK. And then we have Ola Valvenius from AEC Sweden. Just a few housekeeping things. If you want everyone to see your comments, then you can write them on the chat. There's also the Q&A function, which is called frågor in Swedish. You can write your questions there. If you could please write them in English so we can all understand them. First of all, we'll we also share the recording and the slides after to everyone, so you will get a copy of it. That will come after this presentation, pretty sharpish, possibly already today. All right, let's get going. So first of all, those who do not know Symmetry, we challenge people to work smarter. At Symmetry, we create and provide technology solutions and services for design, engineering, and construction and manufacturing businesses. We have currently about 1,000 employees and work across 7 countries in 33 offices, and we have over 400,000 users daily. We've been founded in Sweden 1989 and have grown since quite significantly. Our purpose is to challenge people to work smarter for a better future, and our mission is to enable businesses to gain competitive advantage by using leading-edge technologies and solutions to improve performance. So today we are talking about more how to reduce carbon, building smarter, just a future of construction. Let's just start with why. Construction and manufacturing drive half of the all environmental damage in the world. There's a massive share of the energy use, the raw material construction, and the waste and biodiversity loss that is caused by the building stock, which we are building a lot. They have been calculated that we basically build 1 New York City per month more, and building stock is due to double by 2060 if we carry on how it is. For embodied carbon, obviously, is a big part of it. This expansion alone will accelerate climate change by 6 years. And what actually causes it is obviously raw material extraction is a big part of it, or half of it probably comes from that. And energy use, which is used by in the buildings and running them. Manufacturing of cement, manufacturing of other building products, and manufacturing of metals are all creating a lot of carbon. I mean, there's like gigatons of embodied carbon annually, which is a large amount at anyone's scale. And materials will already be a dominant source of CO2 emissions in many countries. Some countries less than others. I mean, there is some coal using economies, like maybe Eastern Europe, that's still the operational carbon. It's a bigger part in the buildings. However, Sweden, UK, and Western Europe is probably moving towards at least half, or even if not taken over, the operational energy. So it's obviously energy being regulated for many countries for many years. Embodied carbon is coming, and it has been regulated now in many European countries. Pretty much all the Nordics. That didn't put all the flags there, but it is in everywhere. And then also in EU, there's some also US regulations, not not countrywide, but statewide. Same in UK. There is a more city regulations. Also, the environmental product declarations are in regulations in some parts. Obviously, there's other drivers like carbon standards and benchmarks that you need to or you want to show in different levels in building permits and voluntary standards. So it's the push is coming from governments and industry likewise. When you want to reduce the carbon in a building, it's not going to happen in the construction stages. Obviously, the best thing is to build nothing, then that saves a lot of carbon. However, there's obviously need to build. So building less and more lean, it's a good way. And this obviously has to start from the design stages as well as building clever. So every stage you move your design, the decarbonizing potential will halve or so. So you have to start beginning. You can't leave it to the contractor to magic up your low carbon building. It won't work. It has to be designed in to the building design and the specifications early stages. And also for professionals who works in an AEC or industry, it is obviously great that everyone does a little bit at home, but designing low carbon buildings has a lot bigger climate reduction impact than maybe recycle at home. So if you are a designer, then starting early on your design journey to reduce the carbon out, it is the biggest impact you can have for climate emergency. Just to say, we offer some sustainability services in the carbon space, which are 3 different things. Navigate Zero is our own technology which works in the Revit. One-click LCA, you can calculate obviously further. One-click whole life carbon impacts, and it's something that we resell. And then we also have our services that helps. We can embed the low carbon thinking into your Revit workflows. So the Navigate Zero works in the really early design space. So if you are designing your building, obviously the biggest impact at the start is what the materials you put in the buildings. Obviously, you can also have impact of the repair and replacement and maintenance sections. If you select robust materials, then obviously they will reduce. However, the selecting of products to start with is a main thing, and Navigate Zero will help you on that. It has, like I said, cradle to gate approach. You can visualize and compare your buildings in Revit environment, and gives you access to all the EPDs and generate data across the nation. You can add private data and assemblies and mark your favorites. And so there should be a poll for you. If you could let us know if you already use Revit or if you are thinking about it, or if you don't know if your practice uses Revit somewhere. But there should be a poll popping up. The other solution, which is more like a whole life carbon assessment, so it's more on the reporting end. So once it's been designed, someone wants to know how much carbon there is, then one-click LCA comes to play. It might be too early to do this with the early stages, but obviously for reporting purposes, for regulations, one-click LCA is the right solution. So producing your planning, BREEAM lead, any kind of regulation compliance, whole life cycle assessments from A1 to D is what it does. You can obviously input your Revit drawings or any other kind of BIM drawings to one-click LCA. It gives the same access to the EPDs and generic data, and also you can use your private data selection. And like I mentioned, we have services as well to help you on your way. So if you are struggling to think where the LCA and carbon calculations will fit, we can come in and help you on that. We can also get you a tailored training or any solution or service that you might want to embed in your workflows. I now pass to Ola to talk about the 7 tips that we have for you for better design.
Thank you very much, Joanna. So I will start by sharing my screen then. So just a thumbs up. Is it showing? Great, we are good to go. So the 7 tips that I'm going to present will be done in Revit and with Navigate Zero, and we will also have a look on one-click LCA. I will do this live, so fingers crossed. These are the 7 tips that I'm going to display for you. We will start by analyzing how you with Navigate Zero can analyze and optimize the design. We will have a look on one of our newest additions to Navigate Zero, which is assemblies. We will have a look on with the help of AI that we have built into Navigate Zero now, how you can find, compare, and query materials, get more information about them. And then we will do an export to one-click LCA and see what you can do there for comparison and so forth. So start out with Navigate Zero and the calculation. You will find Zero in the ribbon when you have installed it, along with the other great Navigate products. And here it is. Quite a few buttons that you need to learn, but they are extremely powerful, as you will see. So let's start out with the optimization. And this is really the result that you are looking for when you are using Navigate Zero, getting the information of where are my carbon hotspots. I see that the walls here are quite a lot, floors also, and so forth. And it's dynamic. So if I select anything here, I immediately get access to it in the Revit model. And all these dialogues, they are modeless. So you can continue working with the model itself and still have access to the CO2 data on it. If you want to go more in detail, you can do that by seeing, okay, I saw that walls had a lot of CO2 emissions on them. So which wall, is it any particular wall that has it, or what is it? So from this detail page, I get access to the individual ones. So if I see that this wall has more CO2 emissions on it than the rest of them on, and I can, as you see here, the direct access not only to the model but Revit itself. You get information about that wall that I have selected in the dialog. And you can go in and do all the changes that you normally do on a wall. And with Zero, when you have added resources to that object, you get information of the calculated data that we have done here. So in this case, we have added the CO2 emissions to that wall, along with all the other shared parameters that you have on a wall. And the next step of optimizing is really of having a more in-depth control of it, or seeing it as we do as a table. So here is what we present when you are, so let me take it on a schedule instead, so you see it's a multi-row schedule. And here you get all the information about that wall. And this type of information that you get from the object itself, together with the CO2 data, you can, explore outside Revit if you want to do that. One example could be that if you just export to a CSV file, you can do as a colleague of mine did in Power BI. He exported from Revit the CO2 data along with the categories. It did that on did multiple exports, one on Thursday in June, and then we worked further on the model and had a look on how it did look then. I mean, you could do this on a weekly basis or daily basis even to get a grip of how are you performing. And with Power BI, obviously, you can get a lot of insights, like checking the individual. So here I can add one example. On the walls, I see that the gypsum board, they are like, let me say the gypsum board, they are like only 3% of the total amount of walls in this case. And you can also, like on this page, we have seen that we can see the progress. In June, we had like this CO2 data on the walls, and in September, we have managed to minimize that by selecting more sustainable materials. So that's just an example that you can, all the data that we put in with the Zero, you can utilize in any way outside. Very easy. And Power BI is just one example. Okay, so how did I get here to get this CO2 data? Well, that was done with the apply resources. So in this dialogue, so just give you an information of what you see here. On the left-hand side, you see all the categories and Revit families that you have modeled and you have decided yourself to see. So that's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, you see all the resources, and this is resources that we get from One-Click LCA together with the partnership we have. So all the resources that One-Click LCA has, and it's a lot, it's both manufacturer specific, which we call EPDs, and it's also more generic, like Boverket data for Sweden. That's the information you find here. And these contains the CO2 data that you need to attach to the object. So on this side, you, like I've done here on the ceiling, you see that I have connected an EPD from a manufacturer, Saint-Gobain in this case. And together with the modeled object inside Revit, it's quite easy to calculate for us. Like, it's just how many ceilings do I have, which area has it, and multiply it. And that's what we do for you. Okay, so let me, if you have seen Naviate Zero before, you could, you might have seen that when you are attaching the resources, like for a walling example here, let me give you an example here. Let's zoom in. And here you see that for each and every instance of this wall, I have attached a resource. So I have the gypsum board, I have the studs, and then I have the insulation so that builds up. So together with this, I build up a joint assemblies. This is working fine, but if I want to do this faster, I could utilize something called assemblies. So you see on this wall, I have just attached one resource to the top on the type level. And that is done with what we call assemblies. So with your account, you get let me give you this. On your account, you get a possibility to create your own assemblies here. And an assembly is basically a style or a family connection where you put in your resources to build up these assemblies, which quantity has it on a based reference quantity. And when this is done, you are good to go. We will calculate everything for you. It's super easy once you have this set up. And another great thing about assemblies is that if you have worked with EPDs and stuff, you might have noticed that some of the EPDs doesn't have a unit that you can utilize in Revit. That is another thing that we do with an assembly, that you can take an assembly that from the EPD only have kilograms specified. A kilogram is not that easy to use in Revit. It's volume, pieces, length, area, that kind of information that you can get from an object in Revit. But with assemblies, you can convert the area weight to an area. So the area weight with the area, and you are good to go. So this hollow slab I could now use in Revit as an assembly with our tool. Really nice. So that's expands my possibility to use the assemblies. Okay, so let's move on and to the next tip about using AI and find resources. Because I have the normal search here. If I want to find anything connected to a ceiling, say that I want to find a better solution for this one. So I can use the normal search that we have had all from the beginning. But it's quite many to choose from still, right? So in some cases, you find it all directly, of course. So we have built in two AI functions on this page at the moment. We have the Navigate Filter Assistant, which let you, based on the selection that you do on this side, you can let our AI find something on, it looks on the category level. You can search, let the AI search for the family name, type name, manufacturer, material name, and so forth. So let me go just say category. So by the selection I do here, I choose look on that category and give me some examples. And we will, provide based on the naming here, example or filters for you. The other, which I really like a little bit better, is let me see, is this one that you in more writing type in like what you would ask. Give an example of a ceiling panel with low CO data as an example. So what we'll do now is that we will list up to five different examples of them. And I understand that this one might be quite small for you on this side, but let me zoom in a little bit. So on this page, we find information from the EPD or the resource, which manufacturer is it, the CO2 data. But going through this one could be, a little bit tedious. So what I suggest is that you find here based on the CO2 data, you find something, you select that one. Let me know a little bit more about this one. And then I use the Navigate Assistant here to start asking questions. So what could it be? It could be like, I might be interested if there are any fire data hidden in all these texts. Do you have any information about that? And ask that questions. Yes, it says that it should be possible to use in those kind of environment if I want that. I might be that I want to have this ceiling panels in the bathroom, so it need to be moisture, handle moisture, right? Yeah, and it seems that it should be okay for that as well. Okay, so far so good. Might want also to know what dimensions are there available. And these are the dimensions. And I mean, guessing this, it might be work, and then I'll might go into this product page and see more information about that, right? And just to give you an example, that we handle your local language. So since I'm in Sweden, I might want to ask questions in Sweden. So, and I can ask more than just on this one. So maybe I want to know what an EPD is. Så vad är en EPD in Swedish? And then I get the question in the answer in my local language. Good, and hopefully you find this super great way of finding things. I mean, it's so much easier to ask questions how you normally would do than what a software want to, right? And when I found it, I can pin it. So I have this selectable when moving on. I can also use the Find Similar button. Come on, the Find Similar. So I pin it. I can find similar. So I find similar material to this one. And I can apply and close it. If I apply close, it will apply this one to this selected one. All right. So this is, this is what you do when you apply resources. You find it and then you apply it to the object you want to have it. And just a note that once you have done this in the file, it's saved. So whenever, if I were to draw more ceiling panels, it would find the software will automatically take the same as it has here, right? It just built up the quantity that you have. Meaning that if you do this in your template file, you are ready to go directly. You don't even need to go to apply resources, because if the template is set up with where you have applied these resources, everything is there. And if you have a new file, you could always import your resource mapping and or export it. You might want to export it first and then import it to the new file, right? So we have multiple ways of handling files. You should make it easy, right? All right. So when you have done this, you want to share this with your LCA specialist, you have the possibility to export what you have done here. And we have now two different ways of doing it. Either you take this export, and that will export the things that you have assigned in apply resources. And the thing that you haven't assigned yet, if you want to share that also, you take that one, export all. So when you click this one, it will automatically be you will be taken to this web page. And now we connect to one-click LCA. And getting here, it's you don't need a license, a paid license. It's enough with a free. And if you don't have a license to One-Click LCA, you will be able to download an Excel and send that Excel to a person that have a license. And if you take the download Excel option, you will get a result like this. So we will collect all the data that you have assigned in Navigate 0 in the Revit file, collect all the quantities and the unit you have specified, and so forth. As you see here, we take the family name, the type name you have used, and what category type it is, and comment on them. If you have any comment, they will also be exported. Good. But if you have a license, well, then it's a matter of going through this wizard, as you see here. First, you upload it, which we did in 0. Then you select which project you want to assign it to, and so on. And I shouldn't bore you with clicking the next button, so I go directly to this page with where you see the result. So here is the result from the file you see. I have imported it to to 2 different calculations tools. In this case, I'm interested to seek certification for klimatdeklaration, Boverkets mandatory for us in Sweden. And I have also wanted to add it to LCA miljöbyggnad. And the tools you select, that's based on your license, but I'm just showing here that you have, come on, maybe I need to check out my license here. Yeah, so I was idle for a while. So if I look here on my available tools, you will see this is depending on which license you have. But as you can see, One-Click LCA, I obviously have a lot, right? Since we are partner with LCA. And here you see it's everything that you need. But I selected klimatdeklaration and LCA miljöbyggnad in this case. And when you exported it, it finds the building materials that I exported, and I have added some more information on it. And you could go in here and check the result directly. And here is what it will look like. As Johanna said, in 0, we are able to work with the construction, the production phase, or the design phase, A1 to A3, when we are there. But going to the construction site, we don't really have that information in Revit, right? But that is something that One-Click LCA is doing a great job to give us. So A4 transportation to site, and then the actual A5, which is when you the waste when you build it, and the energy for the construction site. You get automatically. And one really interesting thing which I think is the completeness checker. Here I can get a great view of the thing that I added here from Revit. Does it make sense? Is it really does it make sense? So it will do a quick test for me, like here, like you see here on it finds that the roofing material, I have no materials at all on that. You might want to have that, right? If you're building. So this is something that I can talk to, either add it here directly or do a new addition in Revit perhaps. And I hadn't specified any foundation at all in my model, so it has 0 value. So you might want to check that, right? And then the valid check that had gone through, I get an information of what they are. So the gypsum board is credible for this type of building. It's good to know. So it's not just bad things. It's a good thing also. Okay, so let me go back to the landing page here, the first page here. So this is the first variant. I could obviously work further in Revit if I want and do new export to it, but I can also do it here. And by doing that, we really recommend that you do a copy of this first one. So I make a copy of this one and I get the exact same data that I had on this one. And by doing so, I can start to compare these two designs. So if I here go in and do changes to materials, maybe I'll add the bitumen on the roofing here, or I change some material. I do that here directly on the material level. And one way of doing changes to already existing materials is to use this one, most contributing materials, which I find here. And here I find that floor slabs is contributing quite a lot. Could I do more? And then I get get help with getting more sustainable alternatives. If I do that, One-Click LCA will show me a list of better floor slabs to use. And if I find anything that is better, I could query some more. I can star mark it and use this for my continuous data. And I also, if I have multiple, I could add to compare. So I could, compare different ones. And once I selected one that is that is better, I can go into my construction materials here and make the change. Good. So there is. Hope you get a good sense that there is so much more that you can build on here once you are in One-Click LCA. Good. So
great. Thanks, Ola. We had a few questions, some in chat that you can all see, but in the questions as well, it said, is it possible to use Navigate 0 on its own, well, inside Revit, without One-Click LCA? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's its own software, and the idea is that you use it early stage in the Revit when you're designing. So it's all there for you, and also, like Ola, so the whatever material selected also goes to your object, so it will keep the data in there. So you also do not need to start from beginning. So anything you select goes into object. If you save it, it will stay, and you can also save the mappings, or you can save them also in the symmetry, my symmetry cloud as assemblies. So there is a ways of, so you don't need to start from the beginning. Once you done everything, if you have, especially if you have like a similar materials or similar assemblies that you use all the time, then that can be embedded in there quite quickly. If there was any other questions, well, yeah, that kind of answered Jenny's questions as well about, do we have to do we have to do it in every project? No, you can save it. It will be done. Obviously, if you have a new things, then you have to keep them mapped. And also you can display them in a company level if they're saved in the My Symmetry account. Any other questions from me? What should we have?
Sorry, I had a microphone issue there. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. There was 2 ways of comparing materials. I think you can compare the materials in Zero. If you have one-click LCA license, you can also do more work there and optioneering quickly. But comparing materials side by side and finding the best is available in Zero too.
I would say also that, I mean, you could, the AI gave you comparison also here, but you have the possibilities to select, like if I want to compare 2 different materials, here is 2 different gypsum board. I can do that by selecting it here and just, come on. It's a little bit.
Yeah, we can see compare.
I can do a comparison here as well. So let me give you this one.
Yeah.
So I can do the comparison just by the selection as well.
So there was also other question about just double checking. So skip the whole IFC export step by going straight through Zero to one-click LCA. No, you have to go through the whole export. I mean, the Excel you get out straight away, but then if you are putting it into a project, you have to go through the normal. However, it should match exactly because you're using the same resources and you're using one-click LCA. So there shouldn't be any. If you mapped everything in Zero, you should have all of it coming out directly because it uses the same data. There shouldn't be any errors coming out or anything that hasn't. But obviously, you can just do the results in Zero, like here. All I'm showing, you don't need to go one-click LCA for this. The results in here comes directly without any other than clicking that apply calculations. And in there you can also do the coloring of them, so you can see where they actually are, the hotspots in your drawing, by just clicking the colors in the Revit or resource categories in there, so you can see where your hotspots are. So this is all happens inside of Revit. No, you don't need to have a one-click LCA involvement at all. Hopefully that answers the question there.
Yeah, and should say also, I mean, we do have a lot of finding and finding and color elements inside Navigate Accelerate. So all these functions that you find up here, the filter elements and all, I mean, when you have added with apply resources, we do have all the CO2 data that could be utilized with these kind of tools as well. So it's only the sky is the limit.
And then we had a question about what does it cost? Depending where you are, obviously we sell in a local currency. So if you just want to drop us a line that you want to quote, we'll send one in appropriate currency. It is not expensive. Let's put it that way. There is another question, I think.
Yeah.
Is there also some data on furniture? There will be some, not a great deal. It's not because we don't want to, or one-click LCA wouldn't want to. It's just because furniture manufacturers don't often do EPDs. They have quite often some carbon calculations which are not official EPDs. There is some generic data and some EPDs coming up. As soon as they obviously been done, they will be found in Zero.
Yeah.
There is some handful, let's say. You can probably have a chair and a couple of sofas and desks and such like, I know, but they're not like every manufacturer is whole repertoire is not available necessarily, but you can model a internal room.
As you said, it's that there are furniture manufacturers that have provided EPDs, and so there is some, and there are some generic also, which I have seen.
So hopefully more is coming as we speak.
Yeah.
I think the regulations might help on pushing the data coming forward a bit more swiftly. Outdoor. Then there's a question about outdoor materials like plants and trees. I mean, plants and trees are not materials; they are growing things. So you don't typically A1 to A3. You wouldn't calculate them obviously because they are growing. That's not a building material. It doesn't contribute to the carbon burden. It actually helps. You can in one-click LCA to apply trees and some other plant data, which will then help you to reduce the carbon. It is calculated in the life cycle assessment section B1, which is kind of so it's not A1 to A3 item. It doesn't like a calculation method doesn't work like that because it's a positive thing. If you cut it and put it in a building, then it comes A1 to A3 issue. If part of the model is existing, you just want to look at the extension. Yes, you can do that. Obviously, if you have to, you probably have to mark the drawing so that you have existing and new. I think you can apply it from the settings here in the Zero. You can tell that just to look new parts. All I'm showing there now, and then you just click that. I just want to show the new and just use the new
as well. So in settings, you can select with
everything
the face.
Everything go new or old. Obviously, that is probably a good way of doing it as well, because the existing is existing. You don't need to calculate it again. The new is what we were today. The other one was already built a long time ago, so that is kind of saving that you have if you retain a building. As you probably know, I think in Stockholm especially, you have to do these calculations. Retaining a building is a favorite option, and if you have to have a really strong case to take it down to start with. So if you can refurbish it, it's all the better. There is some few more questions coming up, which is in language I do not speak, so I can look if Ola can answer that. Something about templates that I can Zero and a template in Navigate. It's on the
I don't find it.
On the top. Folke Solvik. Kan man bruka Zero utan bruka Navigate template? If that's
do you see that?
It's in the frågor. I can put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat. You can see it.
Okay. So Zero, it doesn't matter. You don't need a special template at all. You should use your own. I think. I mean, that's the one that you are that you know. So start up with your own template and start up with the settings, select which type of objects that you want to calculate on. There are a lot of objects in Revit, as you know, or categories in Revit. Maybe you are not working with bridge cables, so deselect that one and you will never see it again, right? And choose what country or region you are and what unit you want 0 to work with, and just hit OK. So when you're done with that, you can also predefine the object that you have in your own template, saying which type of resources do you want to have as a starting point on them. If you have concrete walls, yeah, well, select a resource that applies to a concrete wall. And when you start using that template, when you have the project, you don't need to go into apply resources. You will get the data right away. So yes, use your own template. Yeah.
So use your own template in Xero. There's nothing special required. Yes, Nina, they have a carbon impact, but it is not calculated in A1 to A3. If it's been cut and put in a building, then it's calculated A1 to A3. Anything growing is calculated in B1. That is how the life cycle assessment standard works. If you cut it and put it as a fence, then yes, it has a storage. If it's living, it's a bit like soil. You don't put it in there, but yeah, that's not something I made up. It's how the standards work in calculation. All right, landscape materials there is as in hard landscape, like a fence, kind of slabs, any kind of outdoor things that has been manufactured, and that is the A1 to A3 is a product manufacturing, and you don't manufacture plants. Cool. I think we are all questioned out, and everyone has seen it. So, like I said, you get the recording sent to you either today or tomorrow, hopefully, or in really near future. We'll answer any questions that they might have left, but I think we have pretty much answered them all. If there was any inquiries by price, we can send them around so everyone has the correct currency price, so you can actually purchase it on that. And if there is any questions afterwards, you can obviously reach us.
Yeah, we understand that. I mean, this was just to highlight 7 tips and tricks for you. A quick walkthrough of how you could utilize it. And so, I mean, if you want a more in-depth demonstration of it, just reach out to us and we will set up a meeting for you, so we can talk together. We are here. Just reach out.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a good rest of the day.